It's Monday, and I was going to go out for a run this morning, but somebody wanted snuggles, and I can't say no. So, hi, hello, welcome. This is not a running YouTube channel. This is a crafty YouTube channel with cats. Oh, no, you can't attack. Okay. All right, we're gonna go. I'll do the rest of the intro in a little bit. And welcome to the rest of the intro, question mark. At any rate, here on my channel, we typically talk about knitting, quilting, spinning, and a little bit of embroidery. So grab your project and stitch along with me for whatever happens in this very haphazard Vlogmas episode number 8. So I did manage to finally get a run in this morning. Once the kitten went off and played with the other cat, he was entertained so I could get out the door. I got a couple miles in and then I settled in for my work day. That's just wrapped up, and so now I'm going to have dinner and then I'll probably sit down and work on my Brancusi mitts. So I thought I would update you on how those are going. So right now I am almost done with the thumb gusset and I'm getting ready to shift those stitches off onto the holder. I use a large safety pin for that, but as with the other mitts, I did one cable in the wrong direction right there. Hopefully I'm not like covering that up as I point to it, but unsurprising, I cabled the wrong direction. Luckily, that's the only place that I've done that, knock on wood, so far. So I'm leaving it alone. I'm obviously not gonna go back and fix it. Now it kind of matches the other one, except the other one has it in like 3 or 4 different places. So it is what it is. They have a mistake. Most of my projects do. I'm not a perfectionist in the sense that I have to go back and fix it. So maybe one day if I do decide to enter my hand knits or my hand spinning into a fair or a competition, maybe I'll start caring. But for now, their purpose is to keep my hands warm and look halfway cute while I'm out and about. So I just want to get these finished and off the needles, so we're just moving forward. I also thought I would share with you how frustrated I get with my cable needle. And I've tried cabling without a cable needle, and I don't enjoy it. It makes me too anxious to have those stitches just like hanging out there in space. But at the same time, my cable needle runs away from me. On every row that I don't need it, I lose it somewhere in the couch, in the blanket, in the quilt, whatever I'm sitting on, it just disappears. So I've had to like pull out the couch cushions like 10 times to find my cable needle again. So I need to see if I can find a cable needle that doesn't like run away from me as much as this one does, but I'm already thinking that's a lost cause and I'm just the type of person who loses the cable needle constantly. So it is what it is. If you have a suggestion on other cable needles or how not to lose my cable needle when I'm doing cabling, right now my solution is to stick it through my knitting, but even so, sometimes it does like still fall out. Or I just forget to stick it through there and it wanders off. If you do have suggestions on cable needles or things that aren't cabling without a cable needle, because I've tried that, stresses me out entirely too much. So that option's not one that we're going to pursue. But I'd love to hear your suggestions. Let me know in the comments. So that's the plan for tonight. I'm gonna work on the Brancusi mitts and probably not much else because it's already 5:30. We're probably gonna have dinner in about an hour and then watch some Netflix, and I'll work on these before I head to bed. So not terribly exciting today, but tomorrow I definitely need to bake the final batch of cookies so I can get those out in the mail. They're not gonna make it by Christmas, but that's fine. And I'm also hoping to get a little bit more work done on one of the mini-series sew-along blocks. I did finish the one I was working on, so now I just have to do 4 more. We have 4 more to finish before the end of the year, and I will at least have completed that portion of the challenge. Not remotely in the time frame it should have been completed in, which is fine, but I'm hoping to get that done by the end of the year. So that's the plan for tonight and a little bit of tomorrow. So let's see what happens. Tuesday evening and I've got dinner in the Instant Pot and a very helpful kitten over here. I don't know if you can see him, but you'll probably either see him or hear him in a minute. It's been a long day, lots of things to do before the end of the year. Our work closes on Friday, so I'm trying to get a ton of projects wrapped up. So I've got a lot to do, very little time to get it done in, trying to fit everything in. But I did bake cookies this morning. You saw some footage of that earlier. I think I do have one more batch of cookies that I need to do to get everybody on my list, but I'll be sending those out tomorrow. But I mentioned in another video earlier in Vlogmas that I'm trying to read 100 books this year. So I'm really close. I think I have 3 more books to go. I think I'm at 97 books for the year. So and I'm sorry if you can hear the kitten playing with this toy. It's right behind you. Yeah. But I thought I would share with you some of my winter reads. This is not a booktube channel. It's never going to turn into a booktube channel. But for the sake of Vlogmas, we can go a little off script, away from the knitting and quilting things. So I have a couple books that I like for winter reading, and then a couple of my favorites that I've read this winter. So one that I just finished this month, I think, maybe it was last month, but is Winter People. This is actually set in Vermont, so I really loved it. This is a mystery thriller, and it takes place kind of both in the past and the present. There's a little bit of a supernatural element, but super spooky. I really, really enjoyed this one. So a good wintry read. You can tell from the cover it's set in a snowy wintertime scene. So if you like thrillers, this is a great option. I read this one a year or so ago. It is a nonfiction about climate change and the impact on the areas that typically get more snow. So the author goes to the Alps, to the ski resorts that are impacted and some that have been closed because of the lack of snowfall. He goes to the Arctic and talks with scientists and researchers there. And he also looks at the impact of the snowpack on the wildfires in California. So it's really a wide-ranging look at winter climates and how climate change may impact that and is already impacting that in our lifetime. Really, really great stories, characters in here. Even though it is nonfiction, there are some people that I would definitely call characters, especially in the ski areas, but really, really excellent read if you like nonfiction wintry books. So holiday romances are super popular right now, and I have a couple that I have read on audiobook, and then I just started this one, Kiss Her Once for Me. It is a sapphic holiday romance set in, I want to say Portland, could be Philadelphia, yeah, Portland, I was right. So I've only just started this. I started this at like 1 o'clock this morning when I couldn't sleep. It's really cute so far. I've heard a lot of really great reviews about it, but I'm looking forward to finishing this one as one of my last books to read this year. Then one I recently finished in the holiday romance vein, and I'll pop a picture of the cover in here, is How to Excavate a Heart. And I didn't know what to expect. I just knew that this was an LGBTQ holiday read, which I'm not a super like Hallmark hetero couple romance reader, but I love queer romance. That's my jam. So this one sounded really good. I picked it up without knowing a lot. I was confused as to why excavating was in the title, but it turns out it focuses on a main character who is interested in archaeology, so that type of excavating, not the construction type. But she gets a research position and ends up in a few interesting situations, including dumpster diving at one point. But she falls in love with a girl. It's definitely a grumpy sunshine at first, so if you know that trope, it was super, super cute, but I really loved how intelligent the main character was and that science was a huge focus in this. And it also isn't centered on Christianity and the typical Christmas. The main character is actually Jewish but doesn't really celebrate, but she talks about how she still loves all of the holiday music, even though it is Christian normative. She just enjoys the carols and sing-alongs, so I really, really appreciated that because I don't follow the mainstream Christian beliefs and I still enjoy the songs, so I really resonated with that part of the book. I enjoyed her perspective and that it wasn't the typical Christmas Christian faith focused holiday romance, so that was really, really nice. I just finished this one a couple of days ago. It is You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince. It is another queer romance. It takes place in a tiny town in New England. I want to say Connecticut, but I could be wrong. The blurb on the back says it's for fans of Schitt's Creek, and I definitely think that is true. We have a fairly well-off main character who gets himself into some trouble because of some financial choices he's made, and he's sent to go spend the holidays with his grandparents who live a much more frugal lifestyle. His grandfather is a professor at the college, and he spends the holiday with them somewhat begrudgingly at first, but he ends up really falling in love with both the town and a guy that he meets there. It's a super heartwarming story. Definitely a good read for the holiday season, and if you like the comedy of Schitt's Creek, I would absolutely pick this one up as well. So I hope you enjoyed that look at some of the books I'm reading this winter in an effort to reach my goal of 100 books this year. I'm hoping to finish Kiss Her Once for Me probably this weekend. I want to have a day next week when I'm off work that I'm just reading the whole day. Just gonna sit on the couch with some coffee, some hot chocolate, and read. Maybe listen to an audiobook because then I can knit or spin and get some reading done, but really looking forward to that in my time off. Whatever you celebrate, I hope you're having a good holiday season. And if you don't celebrate the holidays, I hope you're having a good winter if you're in the northern hemisphere. All right, let's get back to the knitting. I did want to show you, I finished and I blocked the Appalachian Trail hat, and it does seem to fit. It looks like a normal sized person hat. It fits me. I do still have to put a little label on there, but it's ready to go. I will probably mail that tomorrow when I mail off cookies. So I'm very happy that that project is done and going to be in the mail. You saw last night that I was working on the Brancusi mitts. I moved all of the thumb stitches off onto a large safety pin. I don't think I showed you that in the first mitt that I did. So it's kind of hard to see, but I have all of the stitches for the thumb on that part of the safety pin. So when it's time to put them back on a needle, I can just open the safety pin and then use that part to kind of guide the stitches back onto a needle instead of using a piece of spare yarn or something. I just like having the sturdiness of the needle, and there's also nothing extra to get tangled up or knotted up. So that's what I've always done when I'm making mitts or mittens, is to use a larger safety pin. It works for me. I know there's different ways to do it, but whatever works for you, this is just what I've always done. And it works pretty well, especially if I'm traveling with the project. Tonight, I'm probably going to work on that a little bit more. We might watch a movie, maybe Home Alone. I haven't watched that yet this season. And I also want to get out the sweater and kind of see where I'm at on that, because I'm really hoping to finish that before the end of the year. I've got like 2 weeks to do it. So I might work on that tonight and probably head to bed pretty early because I am really tired. I've been up way too many hours at this point, and it's only like 4:30. So I'm going to go get some knitting done, and I will see you in a little bit. I have been working on my sweater. Technically, this is supposed to be for my spouse, but I think it's going to fit me because I'm really bad at swatching and I have a tighter gauge than I'd like to admit. But I am at the point where I need to change needles to a smaller cord size. These are my Addy clicks, so I just need to swap out the cord and then finish off the last few rows of the yoke, then do the collar, and then I have to somehow join underneath of the arm. I haven't looked ahead in the pattern to figure out what that looks like yet. We'll get there. That's pretty much it, and then the sweater will be done. So I really like how the top looks, even though there are one or two little errors. You really probably can't tell unless you know this pattern super well and can identify the spot where I made one little mistake. But I repeated the mistake, so you know what? It's fine. So I think I'm probably going to try to finish this weekend. This weekend is the Christmas holidays. I'm not really going anywhere or doing anything. I will probably be sitting on the couch, enjoying some downtime, not having to work the next week, having some peace and quiet. So I will probably have time to sit around and get this done. So that would be really great if I could finish this before the new year. But I hope you are having a good week wherever you are. Tomorrow, when this comes out, will be the 21st, which is the solstice, which is what I celebrate. So I hope you're having a Merry Solstice if that's what you also celebrate. And I will see you in the very last episode of a very haphazard Vlogmas on Friday.